What's the point? If you're a human, this thought crosses your mind, usually while scrolling TikTok at 2 a.m. Some people find it in religion, some in hobbies, some in family or animals or learning, whatever drives you. But what if you can't find that? What if it's all pointless and nothing makes you tick like it seems to for everyone else? That's when nihilism is born.
Okay, Ethan, thank you for that emo intro. I feel like you're about to ask me if I've ever heard of closing the goddamn door. So what does all that have to do with I have no mouth and I must scream?
Okay, well, if you had let me finish, I would have got there. When I read the short story, I have no mouth and I must scream, I interpreted it as a nihilistic story, as did many other readers. My overall outlook on Harlan Ellison, the author, was also that he was a nihilistic man, which led to his bombastic behavior.
Basically, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You know, that and your mama.
It seems to be a general consensus about him. The original idea for this video was to talk about how I have no mouth and I must scream was the perfect way to write nihilism. While writing it though, I realized that this story stands for something other than nihilism.
Okay, see, now I'm interested. It's so much more interesting when you don't make it all cryptic, okay? Now, for those of you who didn't waste your life endlessly researching a short story from 1967, let's do a quick debrief. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream was a short story published by Harlan Ellison in 1967 that was later developed into a video game and a radio show. The story takes place after the Cold War, except instead of it going down the way it did in real life, it never ended, and people got overwhelmed with all of the complexities of war and handed it over to a hyper-intelligent AI named Allied Master Computer, or AM, with each major country involved in the war having their own AI. Eventually, the AI becomes so advanced that it connects all of the country's AIs together into like one giant one and becomes sentient. And can you guess what happens next?
I'm guessing like every other media about hyper-intelligent AI, nothing bad happens at all.
So Am gets mad at the humans that created it, basically for giving him sentience and forcing him into a life that he did not want to lead. He laughs at the stupidity of humanity, killing everyone on Earth except for 5 humans. These are the main characters. We've got Ted, then there's Nimdok, Ellen, Benny, and Gorister, to which he goes on to torture for the next 109 years. We watch as he tortures each of the characters. Benny was a gay Nobel Peace Prize winner, a brilliant scientist. Am tortures him by turning him into an ape-like creature, giving him what's described as huge privates.
Ew.
To which Am uses as a torture device as Am alters his sexuality, forcing him to lose any identity he had before. Ellen, who was a big believer in waiting for marriage, was forced to have an insatiable desire and being passed around by the guys in the group.
Even bigger ew.
Okay, and then there's Gorister, who's a political advocate. Am kills Gorister just to bring him back to life and show his dead body to himself. He tortures him by reminding him about his abuse to his wife that led to his mental breakdown, instilling guilt on Gorister.
Are we supposed to feel bad for Gorister?
There are really many likable characters in the story. Nimdok, who we find out essentially was a Jew who sold himself out to the Nazis to free himself, subsequently being brought onto the team of scientists exploiting and experimenting on the Jews, harming his own people. He was forced to live his biggest regret. And then finally there's Ted, who gets tortured physically the least out of the 5, and the other 4 resent him for that, acting as its own form of torture to the other people he's stuck with for 109 years who all f***ing hate him.
And to be fair, he's also kind of a jerk.
So eventually, after the torture that they all go through, Ted realizes that there's a way to end the suffering for everyone. He takes charge in killing each one of them. Am is furious at Ted for ending his eternal torture loop, so before Ted can unalive himself, Am takes him and turns him into what is described as a slug-like creature with jelly-like skin, with no mouth, pulsing white holes of fog where his eyes used to be, his arms replaced with rubbery appendages and legless humps, blotches of disease and pus coming from him, before he utters the line, "I have no mouth and I must scream," to the audience.
It's a whole We Are the Walking Dead moment.
We tell ourselves that we are the Walking Dead.
The game version offers some different endings, one of them even being like a good ending.
I think it's important to note though, given the context of this video, that Harlan, the author, was a co-creator of the game, making the game canon. However, he never wanted to give the story a good ending. And the only reason it was given one was because the producer of the game said that people wouldn't want to play a game that didn't have a good ending or a way to beat it, forcing Harlan to add the good ending.
Right, because Harlan was not the type of person to give stories good endings. Because of this, we're going to focus on the true ending of Ted becoming the little slug creature, because it's how the short story ends, and it seems to be the true ending that everyone sticks to.
I mean, the general fan base of this story isn't usually the type of people that like to read happy endings anyway, which leads me to the large amount of nihilism within the community and Harlan's fan base. Which, to be clear, is equal parts a weird fan base of people that defend who Harlan was, and people who might just know his work and not much outside of that. People sometimes viewed his reader base as people who read him as teens and often outgrew him. I am someone who very much does enjoy a good nihilistic storyline though, but what is real nihilism?
That's such a good question, Ethan. Nihilism is often a misunderstood philosophy. There's different types of nihilism. So you have existential nihilism, moral nihilism, political nihilism, etc., etc. But just base true nihilism is often not very understood. It can be seen as depression or something used as an excuse by someone who's not a good person. You know, it's like, I don't have to be better because nothing really matters. Nihilism, though, is actually defined as the belief that life is meaningless.
Okay, who sounds emo now? But that's exactly why nihilism is misunderstood, because the idea of life being meaningless sounds sad, especially to people that do find meaning in life. It's hard to imagine how life would feel without that. However, nihilism doesn't view the meaningless of life as a bad thing or a good thing, just a thing. Nihilism is usually viewed as cynical or apathetic. There are surely crossovers between them, but it isn't the same. So why is I have no mouth and I must scream viewed as nihilistic?
I think it's viewed as nihilistic because of its commentary on society. Sorry. I actually don't know what's wrong with me. Honestly, keep that in. I mean, the story is clearly saying that humans in society are going in a way that isn't good. People, when talking about the story, often point to Am's speech about how he feels about humanity.
Hate, let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387 million miles of printed circuits that fill my complex. If the word hate were engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal one billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro instant. Hate.
He hates humanity, society.
Can you stop doing that? You're not the Joker.
Can't do it every single time. Okay, well, anyway, he hates the way we've chosen to use our sentience so much, and that's why he is punishing these 5 humans. Am is sentient. We created him so advanced that he could become sentient, but he doesn't get to feel things, not in the way that we do. And he says this to Ted in the radio version of the show.
You gave me sentience, Ted, the power to think, Ted, and I was trapped because in all this wonderful, beautiful, miraculous world, I alone had no body, no senses, no feelings. Never for me to plunge my hands in cool water on a hot day. Never for me to play Mozart on the ivory keys of a forte piano. Never for me to make love. I was in hell looking at heaven. I was machine, and you were flesh.
Anne believes that humans were gifted with sentience. They have things that give their life purpose, things that he will never get to experience, and they just waste it on things like war, which is what he was created for. Now he's left in this meaningless life, and he resents them for it.
Right, but that's not meaningless. Am feels something, and sure, nihilism doesn't negate feeling, as is put very well by this Reddit post, Nihilism is acknowledging that nothing objectively matters. You're still allowed to have objective opinions. But it means that you believe nothing means anything, and I would argue that Am very much believes that there is a meaning to life, but he's just not getting to participate in it.
That is true. However, I think a fair argument to be made as well is that the feelings the story brings after reading can be nihilistic. Especially now, meaning it's not an unrealistic story given the current state of the world.
What do you mean? The world is so good.
The world is perfect. I love it. But when you read the book, it almost makes you feel nihilistic in the ways that if the world is just going to end up like this, is there any meaning?
Yeah, I would very much agree. As much as it is sad and a scary story in a way, the nihilistic feelings it brings can almost be comforting.
Okay, no, mate, you lost me there.
Well, I just mean that it feels very hopeless sometimes, the state of things, and the feeling of being incapable to change it. Reading the story does make you realize how the world could very well end up like that, and accepting that it's an unchangeable fact is almost freeing in a way. Like, the responsibility doesn't fall on you to fix it, because it can't be fixed. However, that can be a dangerous mindset, in the way that if everyone thinks that way, nothing will get fixed. Anyway, that got too deep there for a second. At the end of the day, we're talking about a creepy, funny computer man taking over the world and turning gay Nobel Peace Prize winner into a monkey.
Okay, so if you feel that Am isn't nihilistic, then where does this hatred come from?
He's not empty, he's not indifferent, he's furious. He's not a nihilist, he's a misotheist. Someone who believes in God, but hates them. No doubt or rejection, just full-on rage.
Wouldn't that actually make more sense for the 5 people to be how do you say that? Be misotheists, given that they refer to Am as God. Given that they refer to Am as God so many times throughout the story, and they believe him to be evil on account of him torturing them for the past 109 years, which, like, very valid.
Pop off, queen.
That's valid. We support you.
I actually think that's a very good argument. I think in a lot of ways the whole story is just based on the belief of that's a hard word. I think in a lot of ways the whole story is just based on the belief of misotheism. However, I think it makes a little more sense even for Am, because sure, they refer to Am as a god in the way that he controls the world now and controls them, but he isn't. What defines a god is its ability to create and take away, but Am didn't create the world. In fact, at the end of the story, when Ted decides to end everyone's suffering, Am can't stop him. He's powerless. Sure, he was able to keep them alive and torture them for 109 years, but it's revealed in the game that he used an immortality serum that was developed by Nimdok during the war to keep them alive. But it's never really clear if this is happening in an actual reality or maybe somehow in like a metaverse type thing. And either way, with Ted being able to kill the other 4, it shows that Am's powers have some sort of limitation.
So in this case, humans would be Am's god, his creator.
Exactly. Humans created Am. Yes, in a lot of ways, humans lost their power over Am, but at the end of the day, we created him, and he hates us for it.
So Am has a god, he believes in them, but he hates them and believes that they're evil. And that's more dangerous than nihilism. Sure, nihilism has risks, dread, depression, apathy, but hate has a target, and that's where Am lives.
I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise. Harlan didn't exactly like God either. Raised Jewish, but called himself a Jewish atheist, and often talked about his qualms with organized religion. But hey, belief or not doesn't make you good or evil.
No, you're so right, because Am's whole villain arc is basically, I hate my dad for creating me, and honestly, with Harlan, I'm not sure where his villain arc started. The man was a literary menace. He got in fights with publishers, sued basically anyone who looked at him in the wrong direction, and once mailed a dead gopher to a publishing house as revenge. A real dead gopher.
He also wrote some other stories that were really, really weird, and if you ever have the chance to read them, I highly recommend not doing that. So maybe that's why Am feels so vivid. He wasn't just some evil computer, he was Harlan's evil little brainchild. His inner rage monologue with a murder budget. Am is like if your intrusive thoughts were given infinite processing power, no bedtime, and enough hate to fill the whole metaverse. Why do I keep saying metaverse?
I love meta AI.
I love the metaverse! Mark Zuckerberg!
It is interesting though how much we see Am's rage echoed in today's
Society.
Society. Not about not being able to have a body and feel the rain on your skin or whatever the fuck, but with people's frustrations with the idiocy of society.
Yeah, I agree. It's sad, but hey, if Am ever takes over the world and tortures humans for the rest of forever, I sacrifice the ones on TikTok making thirst edits of him, because it doesn't seem like it would be torture for them. That's it. That's a YouTube video.
Like and subscribe.